the traders were sometimes harassed in a number of issues.
We used to smuggle knowing that it was very easy and we could get a lot of money when it was very costly.
Traders would find it a challenge to cross the border.
Her experience summarizes what cross-border trade looked like at some of the country's border points at the time. As a result, a bulk of the country's population, mainly vulnerable groups such as women and the youth, were cut off from deriving the right benefit out of the export docket at the time when Uganda had already made great strides, building trade bridges with its neighbors in the region and beyond. This gloomy picture has been repainted by the Regional Integration Implementation Program, RIIP. Little wonder, the first RIIP project code, named RIIP-1, focused on ensuring effective integration of Uganda into the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, and to promote the country's competitiveness to bolster regional trade and investments. A critical outcome for especially the vulnerable groups is that it formalized and enhanced small cross-border trade. Those achievements have been enhanced by the RIIP-2 project, which has supported the country's capacity to integrate and harness regional economic opportunities presented by the COMESA, East African Community (EAC), and Southern African Development Corporation (SADC) tripartite arrangements.
Uganda has received from the COMESA Adjustment Facility with 2 cycles of funding. The first one was from 2014 to 2018, where they received an amount of over 2.8 million euros, and the second is the current cycle from 2018 to 2021, where they again through the CAF are receiving 2.76 million euros. Now this funding has been targeting specific projects. In the current cycle of funding, the focus has been on economic border zone program, which has looked at construction of market infrastructure at several border points to enhance the intra-COMESA regional trade.
The project has supported Uganda to operationalize the Border Export Zone Border Market Program, among others.
RIIP has been very beneficial to the ministry and to the economy at large. For starters, it has actually yielded benefits on research. Because when that project started out, they did a lot of research on the areas which are strategic in terms of driving import and export activity across the country. And we realized that there are certain critical points which can drive social welfare and social well-being. And some of those have already been funded by development partners to drive activity.
Before CBT began in this area, first of all, we were not known, we were not recognized anywhere in the map of business. Most of us were treated as people who are doing informal trade. And indeed, we are doing informal trade. But we thank the government of Uganda for having put this building in this place, where we also have our own office. Through our office, you will get a simplified certificate, fill it within some few minutes, and then less than even 30 minutes, you cross the border. So that means that the business has actually been put to a standard, because we can travel as many times as you wish, depending on your money and depending on where you take the commodities.
Cumulatively, such interventions have caused a cyclical impact currently witnessed in the expansion of export trading volumes, the narrowing of the country's trade deficit, and the push of the economy closer to the Vision 2040 aspiration, a shift closer to the resultant contribution to the country's aspiration under the Second National Development Plan as a building block towards achieving Vision 2040.
We have engaged other partners which have really seen the need for value addition for our exports. And through the initiation of this project, which now other partners are coming on board to ensure that value is added on our products. They have now started to discussing projects of value addition which are being geared to be put at different border posts. A few of the traders we picked from here to go for trade fairs out of the country in Zambia, they ended up having their products exhibited, and Uganda became an exporter of some of the items we had exhibited in Zambia.
The appreciation of such dividends and more benefits that come with countries doing business together have driven Uganda and a number of African countries into being part of more trading and economic blocs, the notable ones being the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, the mother body of all African economic blocs, Economic Community for West African States, ECOWAS, in addition to the trading blocs mentioned above.
Trade in our country is looked at in two areas. We have the trade within, producing and then consuming ourselves within our own markets, then producing for exports. So when we look at our exports, Uganda is doing very well, save for some markets which have different set standards, which sometimes have a challenge with us. The market, like we look at the European Union, they have set standards which have challenged us a bit, but we have picked up again. Now we are on the same page. Recently had the European Union on board. We met with them and we agreed on what we're supposed to do in order to fit in their market.
All those economic blocs were formed on the basis of easing the doing of business among the various African states, with lesser restrictions, tax waivers on originating goods within African states, and ease of border crossing across the borders. The glue that is internally binding these blocs together is business.
There is a lot of ease in crossing the border at this time. One, the reason being having an OSBP arrangement where all the officers sit together. It has actually reduced time wastage and, of course, resources. Because if you don't keep time, if you waste the time, you are wasting your money. Availing them with the clearance documents at times limits these other officers who would actually increase the cost.
Critically, the project supported by the European Union and COMESA paid special attention on how to ease the doing of business by the cross-border traders, especially the vulnerable groups like women.
They are constructing a warehouse. Go on well, we shall note that with that warehouse, we as traders, we shall benefit because one, it will help us to come together and that will save our transport, that will mean ready market, and that will at least boost our what? Our business. Some of us who had started as small business people, vendoring on small scale, we had started growing and going across, selling.
This intervention has been cascaded by building the necessary infrastructure to support cross-border trade at selected border points.
Before RIIP came, most of the traders here were smugglers. Nowadays, most of the traders, as we talk, 90%, they do formal trade. They pass from the entry point, they go to Kenya. When they are coming, they pass in one route.
The RIIP has resulted to the construction of the border market, which construction is about nearing completion. And the moment that that market gets done, I know they will have increased the local revenue, will have jobs created there, will have value addition, will have power.
There was no simplified certificate of origin. That means crossing the border would take clearance only, would take an hour or 40 minutes. But when this simplified trade regime was established and the trade information desk officer, clearance takes 5 minutes because it is just a matter of looking at the invoice, then you fill in the simplified certificate of origin, take to customs for endorsement, then the trader crosses.
At the national level, The RIIP project has been focal at supporting enabling policy and procedural reforms that are key to facilitating trade in goods and services across borders.
Before the project started, traders were trading ordinarily, individually, and in their own ways. To date, we have structured these traders, we have clustered them. You know, we could visit the various border posts to undertake a study, what we could call a feasibility study, to find out what is really traded in a particular border post.
Such support and contribution is corroborated by the cross-border traders at the grassroots.
Me as a trader, I used to do business on a small scale. But then later, with the Ministry of Trade, with the RIIP project, there were many workshops which were conducted, and they would bring in different people to sensitize us on how you can do business, on how you can keep records, and how you can trade with people across. So we shall note that with time, most of us who were small-scale business traders had started graduating from small-scale to conducting big businesses with people across.
Because of such emerging realities, there has been an increase in cross-border activity anchored on trade in goods and services, which carries with itself the participation of players of diverse operational size.
One of the things that we have envisaged, because so far they have actually put the 4 border posts, which include Busia and Katuna, and the rest. What it has done, it has increased import-export activity and value. So we hope that this kind of existence on our border posts would increase the economic welfare of every population around those areas.
Relatedly, there has been a jump in the production of value-added products produced for the regional markets, which has helped narrow the country's historical trade deficit with its neighbors.
With the little which we had, even right now, you will find that there is a very big change in the way our traders handle the quality of the exports, especially in cereals and pulses. And then also, this project has also, together with the central government, it has created the need to have standard infrastructure. And that's why you find that now, under RIIP, we are able to come up with this project. And this project we have here, it is a catalytic project, because we're expecting more other facilities in this place in order to complete the value chain of what? Of quality and standardization of our exports.
This has had a trickle-down effect that has come back to benefit the country's productive sectors and industry, thus expanding production and productivity as envisaged in the country's National Development Plan 2.
Under the RIIP project, the border markets is more like the mother of all. They really come in big in contributing to regional trade. So we have, carrying on from the NRM manifesto and the trade policy and all those key documentation, we have 18 border points for development across the country. The RIIP focused on 5, though development started on 4, that is Katuna, Busia, Wahaha, Oraba, and Elegu. And at Katuna and Busia, we have warehouses, and Oraba, we have a commercial building, and as well as Wahaha, we have a market. So each of these are the initial stages, the kickstart of the border markets. But the entire master plans across all these have something huge. We're looking at mini cities, actually, mini cities coming up. So where you will have value addition centers, you have schools, hospitals, everything that can facilitate trade.
Another critical outcome of the project has been the easing of the monitoring of cross-border trade activities and helping with the timely interventions.
In those days, we used to see these differences, because when you trade in these illegal boundaries, porous borders, sometimes you lose your goods by the URA security agents. So when the TIDO was there, try to educate people, they come in, tell them exactly how to work with the business. And there we really saw some fruits in it.
With the easing and structuring of cross-border trade processes has also come the simplification of export data collection, which is key in informing policy.
The simplified trade regime is a tool that has been put in place by the COMESA member states, targeting goods in a value of $2,000 and below. So in Uganda shillings, it's approximately 7 million. So it is a tool that is how to help these small traders be able to participate in trade in a formal manner as opposed to the informal manner. We have helped set up trade information desks at some of the in many of the areas, the cross-border areas such as Mutukula, Katuna, we have Katuna, then we have Madope, we have at Elegu, all those border posts. And not only do we set up, because we have put at least some structures which can help them kickstart. But not only that, we have further helped equip them with desk computers, printers, solar panels for those areas that are not able to access power, knowing that as in the economies that we live in, electricity is really key, but for the start we have the solar panels. So that support has all come in to help these small cross-border traders appreciate what the region has to offer.
Likewise, the RIIP project has emboldened government's negotiation capacity at various levels as it engages the different trading partners.
Through the engagements that we have had, we continue to engage with our partners, our neighboring partners, to say, okay, let's work together to ensure that we do not have these non-tariff barriers impede our small traders. Besides the people who are growing day by day, so you do not want anything that is going to hinder them from going from level of $2,000 and below to something above. So through the RIIP interventions have come up to have joint trade committees. We have engaged a lot with our partners such as DRC, with Kenya, and all the other neighbors around.
The cumulative effect of all these activities under the RIIP project today manifest in the changing socio-economic status of beneficiaries and the contagious impact on the border communities.
We have benefited a lot because in those days, in fact, we were moving as you can see, the cows are left minus someone controlling them. Now here we have gone beyond now because they have sensitized the community, and the community even it is very happy about the RIIP because there were no market, and now they are much eager because they have seen the market is on the board right now. The way we are seeing assisting the certificate of origin, the Kenyans, a day we were expecting getting 2 to 3 vehicles. But at this moment, a day, we can have 20 carrying Irish, carrying onions, what.
While good ground has been covered to ease cross-border trade under RIIP, there are areas that still need support to firm the attained milestones, but also extended impact to the untouched spots.
There are areas also which we have not done well previously, but we have improved, more especially in the East African market, where you found that some of our products sometimes could be challenged by other countries neighboring us due to quality and the post-handling of the products, sometimes also consistency of supply and the quantities that they want. So we've tried our level best together with the other line ministries to improve on the quality of the products that we are putting on market, and then supply in quantities that the market demands, and also consistently to make sure that there is no break within trade.
We still have a lot of challenges, much as we have achieved, but I think we haven't achieved to the level that we can say it's now fine. No, we still need a lot of things, because even there are issues, there are a lot of issues that we can't handle on our own at the moment. So, but I think if the project is given more lifespan with us, there is a lot we surely still need.
The Minister's position on outstanding areas is re-echoed by some RIIP beneficiaries on the ground who still see the need for the continuation of the project.
RIIP has helped us in some trainings. It has been also helping us in providing us with the tools that we can be using in office.
The RIIP 2 project's contribution to helping Ugandans across the income divide draw benefit from cross-border trade cannot be underrated. A major outcome of its effort is the strong trade position the country enjoys with its neighbors, the easing of the cross-border trade processes under the simplified trade regime, and the resultant life-changing impact to the grassroots cross-border trade participants, including special groups such as women and the youth.
Well, I would like to extend my most sincere appreciation to the European Union as well as the regional integration project. And if we call upon other partners to come and join hands with us in the government of Uganda, it will be a very good output, especially for the populations around those areas, to boost all our exports to other countries. And I also take this opportunity to thank the local teams and the Ministry of Trade that have been participating and actively drawing up these projects, as well as other stakeholders like the Ministry of Finance that is always making sure that these programs are funded year in, year out, and maybe also the years to come they will be more actively involved in terms of disbursing all these funds and collaborating with these development partners for us. It's also very important for me to recognize the COMESA Secretariat because they have been very key in terms of implementing the whole program.